seeing individuals and entire congregations go through the process of moving from fearfulness to faithfulness, from being fearful of the future and focused on sustaining the status quo at all costs, to getting to that point where, just that little step of faith says, wow, our community is way better off with us than without us. And God is calling us to do something wonderful. And when those movements have happened, it's just made such a difference in the life of the church, in the life of the surrounding community.
Working as a team to create something. When I first entered the ministry, all the clergy in Mendocino County met every week for Bible study, for worship planning, for sharing, and that was a great start. When it came to Davis, we worked as a team to build the sanctuary that they had wanted for 40 years. When I was in Walnut Creek, we had a worship design team and worked closely as a staff. When I was in St. Mark's, we had a great staff team, including Don Fado and Jim and Jean Strathy. So I would say that creativity comes for me as the work of the people.
I started almost 11 years ago as a certified lay minister, and I had such incredible joy. I couldn't believe it. I just was filled with this joy as I started, and I guess what I want to say to folks is figure out how to keep that I want to say honeymoon joy, because it's so easy to lose it, whether it's some little event that happens, and so I think you need to take care of yourself, take care of your health, and be creative and take breaks and do things to nurture your spirit, and also don't lose your passions. So when I started, I was really into mission a lot, and within a year after starting at my first church, I led a conference mission team to Cuba.
The primary joy I get is aligning or connecting the church community with the community at large. Making that connection so that our ministries and our program and everything that we do is visible in the community and welcoming to the community, so that there's an alignment with whatever we're doing, and we're connecting so that we can learn and so that we can listen to what the needs are, and to see where we can help fill the gap and make a difference.
Basically to pay close attention to your own spiritual life. Stay open to the movement of the Holy Spirit. In fact, invite it on a consistent basis as part of your ongoing spiritual practice, and encourage that within the congregation as well, as much and as often and as strongly as you can, because that's what makes the difference.
I think it's really important to focus on the things in ministry that benefit the greatest number of people in your congregation and greatest number of people in your community. You want to both change the world and help people. And I think by focusing on your preaching and your worship, you can do great things for your church and your community. I also think that Christian education, or what we now call spiritual formation, is critical. That's, don't pay too much attention to the fads, but it's important to communicate the faith.
You need to be creative. You need to think out of the box. I got my folks to start lighting candles during the service, And they really love to do that. And so it's kind of finding out about their culture, finding out about what's important to them. I think everybody needs to learn another language. Every single person who's in ministry, as well as learn about the culture of those that language they're working, because we need to understand and enjoy our diversity.
Just learning to listen better, listening, and not just for the sake of listening, but to learn from our members, to learn from those that are in the community. And probably the second part is to lead people to go where they would not have normally gone, creating or developing what I call spiritual activists. Spiritual activists to align with our personal relationship to God and to Jesus Christ, and our responsibility to our neighbor out in the community, and how to translate that, how to make those connections so that we're not walking in a different world, in a better world than all the neighbors that live alongside of us across the street from the church and in our communities.
It's just been a real privilege to have some small part in that process of watching what happens when folks hear and respond to God's call.
It was great for me, great and difficult, to get written up in the Wall Street Journal in an article on the front page that asked, when weddings are a career risk, and subsequently being brought up on a complaint and going through the judicial process. It was a challenge, but it was important to be part of something. And I think it's always a joy to be involved with people at meaningful points in their lives. And it's always a joy when you can see the impact you're having in the way the world changes.
There's things that I would still like to do. I mean, I'd like to learn more about Messy Church, because I think we need to be able to think out of the box. And I want to do more mission trips. And so I guess I would close with saying, keep your sense of humor, keep your patience, and most of all, keep your love of God.
Being the first Christians in my family, I came into the faith with a real strong zeal, like everyone else. And so my understanding of Jesus and what he brings to the table may be different than someone else. And so my understanding is the love that Jesus brings to all of the people. And I try to create that whatever church I'm appointed to create what I call sacred space to articulate that love to the world, to one another, and also to those that have less than us. And so it's not a complicated message, but it is complex as we try to live that out.